Students, welcome to the geography class. Today we are going to start up a new chapter here. That is your chapter 4. Okay, and the heading of this chapter is your agriculture. So students, what do you know about an agriculture? When we see the condition of an India right from our Independence Day, we'll see that the maximum number of the peoples are dependent on agriculture. Okay, directly or indirectly, many peoples are occupied in the occupation which is known as your agriculture. Besides this, we also have agriculture for the trade purpose. Now, we import and export various varieties of food products as well as your spices, your industrial products. So these are the things which gives value to our country. But how it is becoming important to everybody in the family as well as in our society, we'll come to see in this chapter. Okay. So in your NCERT book, that is your agriculture, this is your fourth chapter, and in this fourth chapter we will discuss about the types of farming, we'll also discuss about the cropping pattern, and we'll also discuss about the major crops. Okay, so one by one we'll be dealing with everything. So first we'll know the importance of agriculture, why agriculture is important in our country called India. Okay, so let's see what do we have on our blackboard. The first one is it is well known that India is an agriculture country. Okay, we know that India is an agriculture country. Why? Because more than 2/3 of the population is engaged in your agriculture activities. Okay. So large number of the populations are dependent on the agriculture, and as we know that directly or indirectly it feeds millions of the populations living in the country. Okay. Now the third point we'll see, apart from the food grains, what does it also does? So apart from the food grains, it also produces the raw materials for the different industries, like for an example your agro-based industries. Okay. So this is your agro-based industry. So agro-based industries, what kind of industry? Those industries which basically use the raw materials in the form of an agriculture product, such as your cotton, jute, sugarcane. These industries are known as your agro-based industries. Okay, student? Now we'll see the next point, why the agriculture is important. In the third point, what we see that besides some agriculture products, other products also makes it famous, such as what? We'll see that some important items are being used for doing our trade, that is importing and exporting the business in India. That is your beverages crops, that is your tea, your coffee. Yeah, India is well known for its tea and coffee. So these are sold outside our country, which is known as it is exported from our country. Okay, and then this is the spices. The second product which is here is your spices. What does the spices does? Yes, the spices increases the flavor of our food. Okay, so we have different spices like the black pepper, we have turmeric, we have coriander. Okay, so these are the spices which adds flavor to our food, and it is also renowned all over the country. Okay. Now the third point is what? It is our cash crops. So what are the cash crops? Yes, the crops which is not used as eatable but which is used for selling purpose is known as your cash crops. Okay. So what are the cash crops? Cotton, tobacco and jute are the cash crops. So do we know that when we export these different products, in return what are we getting? We are getting our foreign exchange. Okay, so this is how we saw the importance of an agriculture. Now we'll see what are the types of farming which is present in our country. Okay, so let's see what are the types of. So let's see what do we have in the types of agriculture. Okay, तो in the types of agriculture हमारे पास क्या क्या है? हमारे पास मुख्य 4 प्रकार के agricultures है. Like for an example, number 1 we are having a primitive subsistence farming. ठीक है. नंबर 2 हमारे पास क्या है? इंटेंसिव सब्सिस्टेंस फार्मिंग. ठीक है. नंबर 3 हमारे पास क्या है? कमर्शियल फार्मिंग. एंड द लास्ट वन व्हाट वी आर हैविंग इज योर प्लांटेशन फार्मिंग. सो बेसिकली ये कमर्शियल और प्लांटेशन हम लोग एक ही में रखते हैं. ओके, हम लोग देखेंगे किस तरह से इसको अब डिस्कस करेंगे। ओके, तो पहला जो है हमारे पास उसको क्या कहेंगे, प्रिमिटिव सबसिस्टेंस फार्मिंग। तो बच्चे हम इन प्रिमिटिव सबसिस्टेंस फार्मिंग से हम क्या समझते हैं, ठीक है, नाम से ही ये प्रचलित है, जैसे कि ये हम लोग प्राचीन समय में जो कुछ फैमिलीज जो इस तरह के एग्रीकल्चर्स करते हैं उसको हम लोग कहेंगे प्रिमिटिव सबसिस्टेंस फार्मिंग। बेसिकली ये अपने फैमिली मेंबर्स के साथ किया जाता है और पुराने एग्रीकल्चर इक्विपमेंट्स के साथ किया जाता है, जैसे कि हो गया आपका डाउ हो गया, डिगिंग स्टिक हो गया, इसके माध्यम से आप एग्रीकल्चर करें। ये बेसिकली एग्रीकल्चर किया जाता है सिर्फ अपने कंजम्पशंस के लिए। ओके, सो लेट्स सी व्हाट इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ द प्रिमिटिव एग्रीकल्चर। ओके, सो वन बाय वन विल गेट टू द पॉइंट्स। नंबर वन इज व्हाट, इट इज प्रैक्टिस ऑन स्मॉल पैचेस ऑफ लैंड with the help of primitive tools like hoe, dowel, digging sticks। ठीक है, तो ये छोटे से लैंड में की जाती है ना, छोटे से लैंड में, और प्राचीन इक्विपमेंट से की जाती है, जैसे कि हो गया आपका, डाउ हो गया, या फिर डिगिंग स्टिक्स हो गए, है ना। तो इसमें बहुत सारा चीज आधुनिक नहीं रहता है। Then second is what? It depends on monsoon, natural fertility of the soil and other environmental conditions। ठीक है, तो ये इसको इस लैंड को इरिगेट नहीं कराया जाता है किसी मॉडर्न इक्विपमेंट्स के द्वारा, ना यहाँ पर डैम्स अवेलेबल है और ना यहाँ पर आपका ट्यूबवेल्स अवेलेबल है। तो इसको किस तरह से इरिगेट किया जाता है, ये बेसिकली डिपेंडेंट है मॉनसून पे। तो जब बारिश आती है तो इसको अपने आप इसको नर्चर करती है और इसको डेवलप करती है, और नेचुरल फर्टिलिटी ऑफ द सॉइल पर डिपेंडेंट है। ठीक है, सो व्हाट इज द क्वालिटी ऑफ द सॉइल, इट रियली डिपेंड्स ऑन दैट। एंड आफ्टर दैट व्हाट इज द एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशंस, लाइक वहाँ का एटमॉस्फेयर कैसा है, वहाँ का सॉइल क्वालिटी कैसा है, ठीक है, वहाँ का रॉक्स कैसा है। तो ये सारी चीज डिपेंडेंट है एग्रीकल्चर के लिए। नंबर 3 में क्या है, लेबर इज डन बाय द फैमिली मेंबर्स। यहाँ पर ध्यान दिया जाए कि यहाँ पर जो लेबर्स है हम लोग बाहर से नहीं लेते, आउटसाइड लेबर्स आर नॉट बीन केप्ट इन दिस काइंड ऑफ एन फार्मिंग, ओनली योर फैमिली मेंबर्स आर बीन केप्ट फॉर दिस काइंड ऑफ अ फार्मिंग। ओके, देन नेक्स्ट व्हाट वी आर हैविंग, नॉट एबल टू प्रोड्यूस इनफ फूड एज दे आर नॉट यूजिंग द मॉडर्न टेक्निक्स। तो ये जब फार्मिंग करते हैं, इट इज नॉट बीइंग इनफ फॉर देम, मतलब जो भी इनका प्रोडक्शंस होता है वो प्रोडक्शंस इतने कम होते हैं कि उनके अपना भी अपने लोगों के लिए भी वो बहुत कम हो जाता है। ओके, सो द कंजम्पशन इज ऑल्सो नॉट बीन फुलफिल्ड इन दिस काइंड ऑफ एन एग्रीकल्चर। बेसिकली they are not using the modern techniques, so that is why in the large level they cannot do this kind of a farming. Okay, then the 5th one is what, it is also known as your slash and burn agriculture. Okay, so we will see why is it known as a slash and burn agriculture, and why is it known by the different names in the different places. Okay, so we'll see that how and why this agriculture is known as your slash and burn agriculture. Okay, student, so let's see what we have in the first point. We have that farmers first clear a patch of land. In the slash and burn agriculture, what does the farmer do? They, as we all know, the patch of the land is small only. So what they do, they try to clear up this patch of a land. Okay, and after clearing up this patch of a land, what they do, they burn all the plants. Okay, so after the plants which has been burned, then what they do, they mix the ashes, the plants which has been burned, now it has turned into ashes. Now these ashes are mixed in the soil. Okay, so as the ashes are mixed with the soil, and why do they mix this ashes in the soil? To make it more fertile. Okay, so after making it fertile, what they do, they leave it for some years, and then they practice their agriculture in that plot of land and produce the cereals as well as the other food crops to sustain themselves. Okay, so what they have done, firstly they will select a patch of a land, they will burn all the trees, okay, and then when the trees are turned into ashes, the ashes are mixed with the soil, and the soil, after gaining the fertility, then what happens, the farmers come up and they plant the cereals as well as the food crops to sustain themselves. Okay. And then next is one, they practice this agriculture not for many years, but they can practice only it for the 2 or 3 years. You know what is the reason behind it? The reason behind is this, that in order to increase the fertility of the soil, we try to put the fertilizers and pesticides now, but all these things are not being kept in this kind of an agriculture. Okay, so the natural fertility of the soil only is dependent for the agriculture, and by 2 and 3 years this fertility is been lost. So as the land starts losing the fertility, they have to shift to some other land, and when they shift to some other land, they start with the same process. They clear up the land and they start burning the forest, and then they start planting it after the soil gets its fertility. That is why it is also known as a shifting cultivation in many parts of India. So we will see what are the different names given in the different parts of our country as well as in the world. So what are the different names given to this slash and burn agriculture in the different parts of the country? First we'll see, and then we'll see what has been called in India also. Okay. So we'll see that in Central America it is known as milpa. Okay. In Venezuela it is known as conuco. In Central Africa it is known as mesol. In Brazil it is known as coca. In Indonesia it is known as ladang, and in Vietnam it is known as ray. Okay, so that I have also plotted the different countries here, and let's see what where is the projection of the Central America, where it is known as milpa. So here as number 1 I have kept it here, so this is your milpa. The second one, that is your Venezuela, where it is known as conuco. So this is your Venezuela here. Near about Brazil, here it is your Venezuela, where it is known as conuco. Then we have Central Africa, where it is known as a mesol. This is your Central Africa, where it is known as a mesol. And then we have Brazil, where it is known as your coca. So this is your coca, here it is your Brazil, near down to your Venezuela. And then we have our ladang, which is called in Indonesia. Okay, so this is your Indonesia, just above to your Australia, where just a bit, yes, this one will be clear, just above your Australia. Here it is your Venezuela. Okay, where it is known, here it is Vietnam, I beg your pardon, where it is known as your no, here it is known as your Indonesia, where it is known as your ladang, and in Vietnam it is known as your ray. This is your Vietnam. Okay, so on the edge, these are the different names given to the slash and burn agriculture in the different countries. Okay, now we will see what is being known in our state. Okay, so in different parts of our state, like for an example, in Madhya Pradesh it is known as Bewar or Dhaiya. Bewar or Dhaiya. And in Andhra Pradesh it is known as Podu or Penda. Podu or Penda. And in Orissa it is known as Poman or Pamadavi. In Western Ghar it is known as Kumari. In southeastern Rajasthan it is known as Velar or Velter. Okay. In Jharkhand it is known as Kuruba. In Himalayan belt it is known as Khil, and in northeastern region it is known as the Jume cultivation. I have also plotted this in the map. See, Madhya Pradesh is here, the central part here. Then Andhra Pradesh is your down here, Podu, where it is known as Orissa. It is here at the edge, here in the coastal region. Here you have Orissa, where it is known as Kuman or Pamadavi. And in Western Ghar it is known as Kumari. This is known as Kumari in Western Ghar. In southeastern Rajasthan it is known as Velter or Velir. And in Jharkhand it is known as Kuluwa, here just near your Bihar, which is divided, a state which has been divided from Bihar, which is known as Jharkhand, and then in Himalaya belt it is known as Khil, and in northeastern region it is known as Jumi cultivation. Okay, so students, we have seen why this cultivation is known as a Jumi cultivation and why it cannot fulfill the requirement of its member, because it is totally dependent on the natural fertility of the soil as well as the natural primitive tools, and also it has been dependent on the monsoon. So that is why it doesn't cater to the needs of the people who is dependent on the agriculture. Besides this, it also gives and allows the soil to grow with its natural fertility, as it has been left for 2 to 3 years to regain the fertility of the soil. So that is why it is known as shifting cultivation in northeast, because it keeps on shifting after every 3 to 4 years. Okay, so next, coming up with the next kind of an agriculture, the different type of an agriculture. Here we will discuss about an intensive subsistence agriculture. Okay, so let's see what do we have in an intensive subsistence agriculture. So the intensive subsistence farming is basically done in that area where we are having the large population pressure on the land. Okay, so and this kind of an agriculture is basically being done with the modern equipments, though the modern equipments is used in a limited scale, but still it is not only being left out for the nature, but the human activities is being seen in this kind of a farming. So let's see what do we have in our board. So in the intensive subsistence farming, first the definition is what? That this type of farming is practiced in the areas of high population pressure on the land. Okay, where the land is small and you're having the density of the population which is very high. Okay, and it is practiced in the areas where land resources is very less. As I have already told you, the land resources is very less and the population pressure is high. Okay, like for an example, Punjab, your Haryana, as well as the great northern plains of our India. Okay, so here we'll see that there is a large density of a population. So how to feed this large density of population? Then it is just because of the intensive subsistence farming that we have been able to fulfill the needs of the people. Okay, so what kind of an input is being used for this kind of a farming? So the modern inputs are used in this kind of a farming, but in the limited manner, in the limited scale. Okay, so what are these modern inputs? Then we are having HYBCs. This HYBCs is known as a high yielding variety seed, which has come up during the 60s, during the time of your Green Revolution. Okay, and the next we are having a harvester and the other mechanic tools. Okay, so these are the different modern equipments which has been used to increase the productivity of the crops. Whereas the labor which has been talked about is the labor which has been used in this kind of a farming is the family members, as well as they hire the different members or the different peoples for developing the field. Okay. And then what kind of other things, inputs we are using? We are using large dose of biochemical inputs, and we also use irrigations to for obtaining the higher productions. Okay, so the biochemical fertilizers are used. With that, the irrigation is also, amount of water is also being used here to increase the productions of the crops. And thus this type of agriculture provides enough food. So after applying all these methods, the product which you get is fulfilling, it fulfills the need of the population. Whereas in the primitive farming, what we have seen that the family members are not being able to fulfill their own family demands also. But whereas in the intensive subsistence farming with the help of the modern methods, which is used in the limited way, and other biochemical fertilizers, we have seen that they have been able to inculcate the needs of the present population. Okay, so now the third types of farming which comes before us is our commercial farming. The term commercial refers that it is used for the selling purpose in the market, where we try to directly sell the product. What we'll see here that basically here the farming is done with the help of the modern equipments, and it is a modern farming where everything is dependent on the technology as well as the different staff members who are being hired for doing and cultivating the crops. Okay, let's see one by one what are the points given here. Okay, so the first, as for an definition has been concerned, the main characteristics of this type of farming is the use of higher dose of modern inputs. Okay, here the term modern inputs refers to your various inputs here. Like for an example, firstly, it needs a high yielding variety of seeds. Secondly, it needs a chemical fertilizers. Thirdly, the different pesticides and insecticides. Okay, and besides this, it needs a irrigation facility. Okay, so irrigation facility is also being provided to this kind of agriculture, so that it doesn't depend upon the nature for any kind of inputs. Okay, so in order to have a high productivity, maximum work is done by the help of the machine. Okay, so we are having in the time of plowing, in the time of harvesting, and in the time of also sowing the seeds, the different machines are used. Labor is also hired on rent. Okay, the family members only not important here, but besides them, they also hire in a bulk amount the different laborers to cultivate the land. Okay, the famous example for this kind of a farming will be your tea garden, sugar industry, and your coffee industries. Okay, so this has basically been done for exporting the products outside the country, and in return you get the foreign exchange. Okay, so the other thing which is important here is what, as I told you in the initial of this point where I discussed that this kind of farming basically is being done for a market purpose. Okay, so it is market oriented farming where the products are being sold to the different traders. Okay, and these products goes to from state to state, or it goes from one country to the other. Okay. Besides this, they have also mentioned in your book about the degree of commercialization. Okay, so degree of commercialization depends area to area. Like for an example, you can say that there are the two examples here which has been given in your book. That is, one is your Punjab and Haryana, and the other is your West Bengal and Orissa. So we see that Punjab and Haryana, in spite of being a dry oriented area, they are planting the rain-fed crops, that is your rice. Okay. And after planting this rice, and they are much more in a better situation, they are having a surplus sale in the market. Okay, so it depends upon region to region how far your products is being commercialized. Whereas in your West Bengal and Orissa, in spite of being the rice bowl of India, it doesn't have a surplus to be sold in the market. So this is what the term commercialization means. And then we are coming to the next and the last type of farming, which is known as your plantation farming. The plantation farming is also or it can also be included in your commercial farming. Okay, so let's see what do we have in our plantation farming. The plantation type of farming, what do we get to see here? So plantation is also known as a kind of a commercial farming. This is also being done in the large acre of a land where we plant only a single crop throughout the year. Okay, and it is basically an interface between an agriculture and an industry, which means that it caters the need of an industry. Okay, so this plantation agriculture is very useful in this kind of a farming. A single crop is grown on a big area. Okay, secondly, the plantation has an interface of industries and agriculture. It is because of this agriculture that the industries works out. Okay, it is dependent on the agriculture, the agricultures which it provides, and the plantations which it provides are coffee, tea, rubber, jute, sugarcane, apple, banana, as well as some plantation crops are also been provided. Like for an example, you see apples in Jammu Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, whereas the tea in your North Bengal and Assam. Okay, so these are the different kinds and types of the plantation crops which cater to the needs of the industries. And the thirdly is what? Plantation is grown on a large tract of land using a capital intensive input. This is also fully dependent on the modern technology. From sowing to your harvesting, all the modern equipments are used, from your HYB seeds to all the fertilizers as well as your machinery equipments. Okay, with the assistance of the migrant labor. Since we know that it is a labor intensive kind of farming, so here lots of labor is been required. Right from the British period, you see, when we had that indigo plantation and all, the peoples were transported from one area to the other. Even in the the French Revolution, you have seen there was a slave trade. Now, so it is time immemorial we get to see regarding the migrants who move from one area to the other area for planting their crops. Now, all the products are utilized as raw materials in the respective industries. Okay, so all these products are being used in the different industries, so that is why it is known as an interface of industries. Okay, since it is used for the market purpose, so it is very obvious that the transport and communication should also be very good. Okay, so in order to transport one material, one crops from one area, that is from the field to the industries. Okay, so for that reasons, a well-developed network of communication and transporting the field with the industry area where it has been processed, and then again to the market where it has been sold. So this holds a significant place where all these needs to be done in a quick manner, so that the income is coming in a better manner. Okay, so for this you need all an developed transport and communications. Okay, so with this we have finished the types of farming. Now the second topic which we will use in our explanation, that is in the next video, we will see the cropping pattern. Okay, so till then stay fit and fine at your home. Thank you very much.